This is Karaka Reports Liberate Africa series on African development and African growth. Today we have an icon with us, the former Sierra Leone ambassador to the United States, Ambassador Sidique Wai. Ambassador, you've done so much that we, the coming generation, have to emulate. You're welcome to the show.
Well, thank you very much for having me. And let me commend the Caracas report, and most especially my brother, Dr. Nelson Aluya, and another brother from Gambia, Mr. Lamin Drame, and my colleagues for being here and to participate in this effort. It is a blessing, a privilege, and an honor with humility to participate in this discussion. I thank you.
Thank you very much. My first question will be, we look up to you and we want to know from your upbringing, what was the thing that makes you who you are today? Your beliefs, was it faith?
Well, every one of us that came from somewhere got our inspiration from our parents. My father was an extremely strict Islamic scholar, and so was my mother. So all of these people were in public service. So that inspiration of really reaching out to knowing that whatever you are doing, you are not doing it by yourself. Like they always use the term, it takes a village, that you need an army, and that army of committed people. This clearly explains why this interview is taking place. It's through relationships with somebody that I've known, Dr. Aluya, who's a prominent African in the diaspora, and then my colleague Lamin Drame from Gambia. So the fact that these people are part of your life, some of them 40, 30, and they're still going strong. That's how I got my inspiration to, not only from my mother's side, which comes from a ruling house. Of course, you know, as Africans, I come from two ruling houses, one in the north and one in the south, which are the predominant places that bring about the gorgeous political mosaic for you to win office. So I grew up watching my family care and share with people. And that's what has inspired me to be who I am today.
So my next question is, what motivated you to migrate to America?
Well, like every African, we all have stories to tell. Sometimes we are fortunate to have people who sponsor us. In my case, my late brother, the late Usman and Sumana Wai, brought me here. And I came here with only $5 in my pocket. That was the first time I rode a plane, Pan Am in those days. And I can never forget getting to Dakar, Senegal, where we had to wait for 8 hours to take the next plane. And I didn't know. They told us we could go outside to tour the place because we had a whole day. So I went out with some people, and coming back, I didn't know I had to pay $20 to come back in. I didn't have the $20. So an American traveling on that same plane with me said to the people, said, "I'll pay for you." So I said, the guy, never met the guy in my eye. So he paid the $20. As I took my $5 to give him, he says, "No, keep it, you might need it." So I came into this country with $5 in my pocket, and a dream and a passion to be better than who I'll always be. But I had people in my life here in this country, relationships that are very, very unique, that I cherish those relationships even today. That's how I came to this country.
Wow, that's a good Samaritan, because at that time, $20 was a lot of money.
Yes.
So assimilating into the American system, how was it difficult?
When you read things in papers, you read history books, you read a whole bunch of stories about this country, there's a lot that comes to your mind. But it's a totally different mindset when you get here. You have a choice to make it or not make it. And if you want to make it, you have to mentally, physically, intellectually prepare yourself to do the needful in the right way, obeying the law, and having people who are going to give you that boost to do it the right way. And through that effort, I was able to navigate. I was a doorman and worked from 4 to 12, went to school from 8 to 4, and I never went to the movies while I was in college until I got my degree. Then I went to graduate school. That's when I was even able to buy my first car. But it was never easy. But I was determined that I wanted to do something. I wasn't going to leave my country, come here and do nothing. I had to prepare myself mentally, create the type of network, get involved with people to teach me what they know. And that's how I was able to be where I am today.
So that's people are beginning to advocate to Africans that their location doesn't necessarily mean success. Where if you relocate or you're in Africa, is what you know that you can give to society. Do you think your story would have been different if you never moved to America?
Well, yes or no, because in our countries, there are a lot of incredible institutions. There are people who have never left Africa. I've gone to some of the best institutions. We think about Ahmad Bello University in Nigeria, Furabe College, one of the institutions of higher learning. Those institutions have produced judges, lawyers, the best, engineers, doctors, without even setting foot here. So I don't know. I wouldn't say that I would not have made it because I had a great primary and secondary education. I had some of the best teachers. I could have made it there. But my brother thought that I needed to come here, join him, where we could say this is the be all and end all. And I wanted to come and also not just be here, but to be a contributor to the social, economic, and political fabric of this nation. Because you cannot be in a country and not be part of that country. So I needed to really look at America as my home away from home and do what I can to be able to be the bridge between who we are, the new arrivals, to let them know we are not here to take away from them. We're here to add to their struggles and how we could work together to make this place a better place, and by so doing, help our countries.
That's very profound. My next question will be, like our children, that are just, some of them, they don't know anything about Africa. What do you think we should do with them? How do you think we should teach them about Africanism and about how they can be patriotic Americans and not forget the roots of their parents?
Well, that process is going to start from the parents themselves. Coming here, having children in this country, I can never forget my African American children. They were more African. They related more to Africa than they related here. You have, as a parent, need to expose them, to talk about their history, to talk about your upbringing as a child, and to let them know who we are. We just did not come from Mars.
Yes.
And that we came from somewhere. And you have to also, as a parent, take them home. Let them meet their other families that never had an opportunity at the country that you came from because they were born here. So you know this country. So you need, as a parent, need to take them and expose them. Let them get a little bit of us and let them know that we came from very, very important families. When they talk about kings, they will talk about chiefs, they will paramount chiefs, leaders, that there are institutions in those countries, and let them be exposed to African history, because there are great histories that you will instill in these kids for them to know they are somebody. And that somebody now becomes a symbol to them. How did I come from where they never went, but they've seen it?
Mm-hmm.
How did you come from there to be here, to go to school, to run for office, to become an American citizen, to become a doorman, and to become a policy advisor to the police commissioner, the largest police department in the world, to introduce the police body camera, which was not something given by a cop, and to really be a fabric of this country and contribute positively to it and push to making yourself somebody. That is how they're going to learn. And that's how they're going to be exposed to what they've never been exposed to. And you have to constantly instill in that. The question of ethics, the question of honesty, the question of integrity, the question of being somebody. You just don't be somebody. You have to fight to excel. You have to go to school. You have to obey the rules. You have to also have respect for your parents. And that is what we as parents have to instill in our children. And hopefully they will see the light of day.
That's so profound again. My other question is that for people like us that came from Africa as well, for you to be able to get into politics, even to get a job, you have to prove yourself and double prove yourself, because they look at you like you're from Africa, you're from third world. They don't really value our educational system. So how were you able to navigate all of that and still be able to go into politics and became so successful?
Let me give this as a broad advice to our people. When you leave your country, you come here. You pay taxes. If you're fortunate to have a job, you have a job. You learn that job. There are institutions here, organizations, NGOs that came before us, such as the Jewish community, the Hispanic community, the African American community, the whole bunch of NGOs here. What I did, I made it my personal business not to just look at those issues and say, hey, I'm from Africa, that issue does not involve me. I became part of that system to finding a way of bringing answers, solutions to those problems. Whether it was a question of advocacy for tenants, I was there. Whether it was a question of participating in precinct councils, I was there. So I left my African community to go into other communities, the Caribbean, the Jewish, the white, all the other communities, because they had something to teach me. And I took all of that by building coalitions with other people. You cannot, let me repeat this. This is very, very important, as you're saying. You cannot fix Africa if you who are here don't have the right relationships, the right network to be able to do that. People have to know who you are. People have to know what you stand for. And when I ran for city council, first of all, nobody thought I had a chance. I said, what is the African doing there running for city council? Then I went to run for public advocate. The guy sitting there that me was my chair for Bronx. When the results came in, we had almost 14,000 votes. Never happened in the history of an African.
Wow.
Do you think I got 14,000 votes from Africans? Absolutely not.
Yeah, no.
It took that coalition, those relationships, white, black, Jewish, Gentile, to give me that opportunity. Why? Because I was part of them. I joined their organizations. I participated in the things that mattered to them. I made myself a part of them. Hopefully, part of what happens to them, I will be able to take it to help my own people. That's how I did it.
Oh wow.
If you're gonna go and say, okay, well, you want to just become a Sierra Leonean, a Nigerian, a Guinean, an Ivorian, or you go into those places, you're preaching to the converted. You have to build effective coalitions based upon your own values, because a lot of times they don't know what is happening in their country.
Exactly, yes.
Until you educate them. And there are a lot of people in this country who want to be involved in Africa. But we, the sons and daughters of Africa, have to give them a reason to be involved. Just like we came here, they're giving us a reason to be involved with their country.
Wow, this advice is very profound. My other question is going to be Pan-Africanism. Military guys that are now like Ibrahim Traore and some other military, the Sai state that they created. And it's like their people actually welcome them and the changes. And just recently, Burkina Faso, they pay their debt. And their GDP right now is over the roof. And things are really moving in the right direction. Because do you think democracy has worked for Africa the way it should?
I had actually prayed with my brother, Dr. Aluya, for you not to ask political questions. But let me just tell you what I think. It doesn't necessarily mean that what I think is universal. From what I know, where I've sat, and what I've seen. If you recall, Frantz Fanon, there has to be a very, very progressive way of thinking. There has to be the mindset. We have had the Organization of African Unity transform itself to the African Union. We have 54 African countries, 54 ambassadors accredited to this. We have a African population of 1 billion. China has almost the same population of us. How many ambassadors do they have? 2. Africa has 54 accredited to the United States, another 54 accredited to the UN. When you look at some of the economies of Africa and you look at the infrastructure, everybody talks about energy. There are places there's no electricity, water, healthcare, education, youth, our future. About a lot of these people, if you could go down the years, same thing. I remember Aluya mobilized young people who took things to make a difference. That kind of mobilization is going to be required for the continent of Africa. Let nobody make any mistake. Nobody's going to fix Africa but Africans.
Yes.
And what is happening now with this emerging, and that's why, when you look at this country, the whole issue of transactionalism, they say that talk America first. Africans should be thinking of Africa first. And don't just talk it as a slogan, but do things that transforms the lives of the people. How can you really talk to me about the richest continent on the face of the planet? We're sitting on gold and still begging for gold. It just doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't.
So there has to be a mindset, and there also has to be an opportunity given to the brightest young people who want to be given an opportunity. Young people should be in government. Young people should be given the opportunity. They are not the future of tomorrow, the future now. But you cannot continue to do the same thing that you have done 20, 30 years ago and expecting to get a different results. It doesn't work like that. You have to recalibrate. There's nothing wrong to say, well, we made a mistake, but now we're going to make it right. What is happening in Burkina Faso is boiling to happen in all parts of Africa. Mark my words. You're going to see that it's going to take some time, but African leaders have to come together to understanding that Africa is an orchestra. Because it's an orchestra, everybody plays a different instrument. But at the end of the day, you produce the best music. And by doing that, you have to work together.
Oh, wow. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be back. We're going to take a little short break. And I'm sure we're all learning from the wisdom of our Ambassador Sidique. Well, thank you.